and welcome back to another episode of the Year in a TikTok of AntiDietPilot. So at the time of this recording, it is Christmas Eve because it just been a little chaotic here. Like everything, like the way my last week before break was, and then these few days after break, it's like, hey, even though I haven't said anything for months, I need XYZ, and like it's happening across the board with so many people, and I am just like, y'all can fuck off right now. It's my vacation. Leave me alone. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
I used to hate gingerbread until I had these cookies today. I've almost eaten the entire fucking bag so that I need to like literally put them away. I used to hate.
So this is like really inconsequential, and I'm sure most of you don't care, but I do just want to chime in. If you were like, "Oh, I don't like gingerbread," try a couple of different gingerbreads because quality varies greatly depending on where you get it from. I haven't had what she's showing here, this Pepperidge Farms gingerbread. Haven't had that. I've had some homemade gingerbread that's pretty good. Also, Cost Plus World Market ginger snaps, the like big red tin, fabulous cookies. All right. So the captions, these are just a series of pictures. Captions say things I've said as a personal trainer that make people mad as hell. Body size is not an accurate measurement of health. A calorie deficit is a restrictive, unsustainable diet. So here's the thing. With this one, body size is not an accurate measurement of health. This can be argued by and large. I agree with her. I do think, though, that once you reach a certain body size, like a level, like I'm sorry, but it is affecting your health and you can see it. Um, that's just my opinion on that one. But in general, for most people, body size won't necessarily be a terribly accurate measure of health, especially if you're frustrated over like 5 or 10 vanity pounds or something like that. Well, they're vanity pounds, but you get what I mean. A calorie deficit is a restrictive, unsustainable diet is just absolute fucking bullshit. So if I'm doing a calorie deficit of 100 calories a day, that is restrictive and unsustainable. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you realize that restriction can be moderate? You can moderately restrict your calorie intake for a moderate level of weight loss. It does not have to be extremes one way or the other. It can 100% be done in a mindful and a very reasonable manner. This just kind of goes with that. All diets are scientific eating. No, they're not. No, they're not. Fitness influencers solicit ED behavior is not health advice. I honestly don't follow enough fitness influencers to give much of an opinion on this. The only thing I'm going to say generally is that it can vary widely depending on who you watch. There's some that are far more toxic than others. I have seen not myself, but a family member that showed me because she thought the guy was kind of funny more than anything, but he was um someone that just advocated for you to drink this weird drink mixture that he would make and then not eat anything for a couple of days because you're fat and you need to lose weight. Like there was that, and then there's also been plenty of fitness influencers though that advocate for a healthy diet. So like this is one of those things where it's like it can be true. It doesn't mean it's true across the board. Fitness does not equal weight loss does not equal health, but fitness equals health. To an extent I do agree with this. Fitness equals health. Fitness does not necessarily equal weight loss. I do agree with that. You can work out a lot and then not lose weight, and weight loss does not necessarily equal health. To an extent, I agree. If you are exceptionally above like a healthy weight range, weight loss would probably improve your health though, so I am just gonna throw that out there. But as general principles, I don't necessarily have a problem with this one here. And research suggests Fat people tend to live longer than thin people. Citation needed. That's all I'm going to say for that one. Citation needed. Please show me where you read this because I would like to take a look at that research.
Here's the thing about these face masks. They absolutely do work, but what you're going to see is a very subtle difference. Like, it's not going to dramatically change anything. I have noticed that my skin tone has improved a little bit. It's nothing crazy, right? And if you have a bad skincare routine, like, this is not going to do anything. This is like a little boost. It's like when you work out at a home gym and then like once or twice a week you like go and do a group fitness class. It's like a little boost, you know? Also, I mean, it's pink, but it's almost like, I think it was like $400 or $500. Do I think it's worth that? I mean, if you have it, go get it and you want that subtle difference.
$400 to $500 for that thing? Are you kidding me? And I'm sorry, like, okay, not here to yuck anyone's yum, but I've always thought that the red light shit was stupid. Personally, and I like face masks and I like stuff like that, but the whole red light thing never, or light therapy or whatever the fuck this is, seemed dumb to me. But like, I always kind of kept those opinions to myself because it's like, if you want to do it, you do it. But $400 to $500 on this, you were scammed, girl. You were fucking scammed. Because I don't think that this, even if it's like a higher quality material, I think you could still probably get some variation of this on Amazon for much cheaper and it would probably work just as well. And this kind of like subtle boost that she says, I can't help but wonder if that's a placebo effect. Like, no offense, this isn't. I'm really not trying to shit on anyone's. Like, if you like the light therapy thing, you do you. It's a self care thing. If you enjoy it, if it brings you happiness, if you feel like it makes a difference, by all means, do what you want. $400 to $500 for this is fucking ridiculous. It's just fucking bonkers. And to me, I'm sorry, I do think that you got scammed. Like, you can get these, maybe not this exact one, but you can get some variation of this from a variety of places for, I'm pretty sure, much cheaper. Much, much cheaper. And to suggest that people should spend $400 to $500 on this shit is just bonkers to me. I mean, if you're really into skincare, if you're really into the whole beauty thing and you want to try everything, by all means, I still think that you don't need to spend $400 to $500. $400 to $500. That's, I could probably get like, could I get a PS5? I think I can get a digital version of like the digital only version of the PS5 for under $500. And then like ones that have discs, which is what eventually I want to get, might be a little over $500, but I could get it used for less than this. Not that video game consoles are like the determination of value for everything else. I guess that kind of shows where my priorities are. Maybe I should have said, like a student loan payment or something more adult. But anyway, yeah, I think that, like, if you think that the light therapy thing does something for you, by all means, go ahead. You don't need to spend $400 to $500 on it. You don't.
Learning that Oprah's not a good person has literally ruined me to my core. I got the first yellow flag when the Maui fires were happening and she was trying to raise money. Why are you trying to raise money when you could literally donate it your fucking self with your petty cash? But anyway.
Honestly, for me, the thing about the Maui fires that got me far more than any raising money is that Oprah owned land in Hawaii and she refused to let people, when people had lost homes or anything, she's like hired security guards to make sure no one was on her land. That was kind of the thing for me. But anyway, let's hear this.
I look past that. Today, I did a deep dive on TikTok and learned all about the schools that she started in South Africa in about 2007, all of the SA scandals. Like, so bad. You know you're a bad person if Angelina Jolie wants nothing to do with you. Learning that Oprah's not.
All right, so this was kind of interesting. Let me know in the comments if you have any more like Oprah Winfrey isn't as good as you thought she was. Things in the comments. I've been disillusioned by her a couple times over. I grew up with Oprah. I loved Oprah. definitely it feels like she has kind of fallen into the trap of wealthy people where it's all the pomp and circumstance, but then, you lift the veil and it's just a shit show.
The men are so fucking hurt we won't date.
So I love her dating stuff. So let's take a look at this caption on the TikTok that she is reacting to. Unpopular fact, most people don't want to hear this, but real relationships that last involve a lot of forgiveness and growth. You have to accept the fact that your partner isn't perfect and may hurt you or disappoint you at times. It's that time where you have to figure out if you're willing to go through this thing called love with them, even the ups and the downs. Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me. Like, I can understand how relationships can involve forgiveness, especially with things like there are these relationship skits from this woman that I um watch where like the most recent one was she's playing a mother that just had a baby. Baby's 2 months old, it's their first Christmas. And she really wanted to do the whole tradition of like going to the Christmas tree farm, picking out a tree, doing like all the real quintessential Christmas stuff. And her husband goes out, buys a synthetic tree, pre-lit, brings it home. In his mind, he's saving everyone a headache. He's saving them effort. They're both tired. They both acknowledge that they're tired. But then she's upset that he did that and she wanted the traditional Christmas. That's the kind of back and forth forgiveness of this is a conversation we should have had. He made a unilateral decision. The conversation needs to have, hey, that really upsets me, whatever. He apologizes. There's forgiveness for that. It's just that kind of almost misunderstanding and the lack of communication sort of forgiveness that kind of has to happen. That can totally be like a thing that has to happen. Your partner isn't perfect and may hurt you. That's such a that's the one that kind of gets me. It's a little too vague in its messaging for me there. Like may do something that you don't like but doesn't necessarily hurt you. Like I don't know, that may hurt you. They probably mean something far more innocuous. But there's so many ways that a partner can hurt another partner that I don't know if I like setting up that expectation. Your partner should never tell you to unalive yourself. Your partner should never attack you physically. Your partner should never um degrade you and make you feel less than human or dehumanize you in any way. Those are types of hurt that are not expected in a relationship, in my opinion. And granted, do I have a relationship experience? No, but these feel like bare minimums. These feel like bare minimums for a even semi decent relationship. So anyway, let's hear what she has to say.
That they're literally resorting to gaslighting us. You have to accept the fact that your partner isn't perfect and may hurt you or disappoint you at times. What these men fail to realize is the reason that they're single is because women are the most educated they have ever been. We're not putting up with this shit anymore. The men are so fucking hurt we won't date them. They're literally
I mean, to a certain extent, I do understand where she comes from in her commentary for this because some of it is like disappointment's one thing, hurt is another. It does give gaslighting toxic relationship vibes to me.
Have y'all ever noticed that the girls that wear lash extensions don't get on here and complain about the fact that y'all look like naked morons in our presence every single day? But somehow this like animosity like started. I'm wondering where it stems from because I didn't do anything wrong. I never complained about the way you look, so why are you complaining about the way I look?
Maybe because you're complaining about the fact that I did a before and after photo on my TikTok that I didn't know way affects you. Here's the thing. Again, with her, like, why are you judging me for what I do? There's no reason for you to comment on how I like to present myself. I agree. By and large, I agree, but the issue is that you're a hypocrite about it. You're a hypocrite about it. Like, if I have anything in reference to what you define as diet culture, if I like have fucking my fitness pal prominently put on my phone somewhere, you're gonna have an issue. You're gonna have an issue. You have an issue if we go for a low carb option. You have an issue if we do before and after photos. You have an issue if we do progress pics. It's one of those things where it's like if I want to intentionally lose weight, you feel perfectly comfortable commenting on my choices and how choose to change my body that suits my preference. But then you get butthurt if someone does something based on your beauty routines. That's the like you want to do the light therapy mask thing, you fucking go for it. You want to do lash extensions, you go for it. You want to do Botox, you go for it. Do I think any of those things are necessary? No. Would I do them for myself? No. But if you want to do it, you do it. The same goes both ways with me wanting to lose weight and weighing myself and counting my calories and doing that shit. It's one of those things where it's like you want to have it both ways and you can't. You either are respectful of people that want to lose weight and just politely not fucking say anything and go off and do your own thing, or you comment on other people and then have to expect to be commented on back with things that people find dumb that you do.
Tipping culture is out of control. This is a list of people I'm not tipping in 2024, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm not tipping at the drive-thru. I'm not tipping for Froyo. I'm not tipping for Auntie Anne's. Yes, they ask for tips there now. And I'm not tipping on to-go orders. And I know the hostesses have such a huge problem because my opinion, and yes, I have been a hostess and a server in a past life. Anyone who sets their own prices, I will absolutely not be tipping you. The whole point of tipping a service professional is that you're paying the business like double or triple what the employee is actually making during that service. So if you're both the business and the servicing employee, why would I pay more on top of that if you're going to obtain the full 100% of what I pay? Doesn't make any sense. If you need a medical qualification or license in order to administer the service to me, I'm not giving you a tip. It goes against the code of ethics to accept tips for these types of procedures. So tipping culture is out of control.
So it's interesting because to a certain extent I agree with her that tipping culture is out of control. It feels like we have to tip for everything. For me, I'm curious what you will and won't tip for. I don't I stay home a lot, so I don't have a whole lot of things that I have to tip for. But in general, if I'm doing pickup, I will tip less than if I was having dine-in, you know? So, like, I'm just kind of curious what you think, like, what your opinion is on tipping and tipping culture.
Listen, y'all can be haters all you want, but a beef and cheddar and a curly fry with a little Jamocha shake, it's going to do it for me every single time. Listen.
I mean, if you like that, if this is another one of those cases where it's like I would normally keep my mouth shut, but since you like to be a hypocrite, I feel kind of a little bit like I'm gonna be just a touch of a hypocrite too. I will say that you are allowed to like what you like, but you're fucking eating Arby's. You're eating Arby's. It's it's Arby's. Best thing that ever came out of Arby's was Nihilist Arby's, and even that's kind of dried up. I hate Arby's. I think it's shit. But that's me. Let me know what you think about her.
Whenever I think about starting a diet again, I just remember the fact that it took me over 2 years to recover from an ED. Don't do it. Don't do it. Whenever I think about starting a diet again,
So this is a New Year's resolution reminder. And she talks about her talking about starting a diet and then about recovery from an ED. That's you. Like there are some people that probably struggle with dieting because of taking it to extremes. We all have that thing where we tend to get a little um we go overboard. For me, whenever I get into anything, I will like research it ad nauseum, have all of these resources and stuff, overload myself, get overwhelmed, and then just kind of walk away. And that doesn't mean no one should ever learn anything. It means that I had to figure out different ways of how to um for my enthusiasm a little bit to make the information absorption process easier for myself. Dieting does not have to equal ED. It doesn't. You can do it moderately, you can do it safely, you can do it mindfully. Says when your Instacart order gets assigned to a man. I have never had Instacart. Like, I've never done Instacart. In general, like, I'm a cheap ass and I don't want to pay someone to pick up my groceries and stuff. And not only that, but I'm picky with what's chosen, so I don't typically do that. I'll go do my own shopping. But for those, if any of you have done Instacart and you've had experiences of a man versus a woman, is there a big difference? This is a genuine question. I don't understand this. Let's see some of the comments. No, because me as a woman will message someone and tell them the options for tomatoes are gross and send a pic to see if they still want it. Girl, for real, I immediately have the urge to cancel the whole thing. Oh, you want a bag of dinner rolls? I replace it with a roll of toilet paper. Is curious. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this one.
Let's just say it is what it is and was what it.
So, it's another series of pictures that says 3 expensive things that are worth every penny to me. The healthiest, freshest, most delicious food for my shining star. So, looks like Ollie food for her dog. I make my dog's food, so and that's not to be pretentious. Like literally, um, one of my dog, like not my current dog, but the last dog I had died from one of those recalls of dog food, like some 10 years ago. And not gonna lie, I've been paranoid to feed my dog canned dog food or any wet dog food ever since. So I make her my own food so that way I know what's in it. Botox just once in a while. Sorry, I went once just for fun, and now I want my entire face frozen for eternity. This is again one of those things where like not my thing. Never want to do Botox. If it makes her happy, that's her choice. Again though, that's fine if it makes you happy. Focusing on weight loss and stuff makes me happy. So keep your mouth shut. And this one says apartment with a view. Is she in Seattle? That looks like the Space Needle. Is she in Seattle during this? Okay.
And this is why most beauty professionals should not be running their own business.
So it says prices have gone up so much in the beauty industry. Color is so expensive, and the items to provide that service, most likely they aren't making much of your 100% service. So this is in response to that tipping culture one. So let's hear what she has to say.
As a customer, I'm paying for a service. It's not my job to make sure that your overhead gets paid. It's not my job to make sure your bills get paid. That should all be part of your business plan and be factored into your price. The whole reason we started tipping on these services to begin with is because we know salons pay those employees a fraction of what they're making. So again, if you are both the business owner and the servicing employee, I'm not tipping you on top of that. And this is why
I actually don't necessarily have I think her logic is reasonable. I'm curious to hear this one. I'm going to pass off to you guys again. What do you think about this? And we only have so much time left. We're going to do one more video and then Manwa.
something I wish for us all in 2024 is that we learn how to talk faster. Because some of y'all did not grow up with Trisha Paytas, and it absolutely shows. Because I keep my finger glued to this fucking screen when some of y'all be talking, sharing your stories. I want to hear, but like, talk faster. Thank you. Something I wish for us all in 2024.
So for the talk faster thing, some people talk, I don't know, I don't have much of an issue with people talking, so I think because I dealt with Amberlyn Reed. Plus, you have this speed up things on videos where you can adjust the playback speed. So just adjust the playback speed. I don't really like this goes again into stop telling people how to do shit. Like they're gonna do what they are gonna do. If they're sharing their story, they're gonna share their story. Some people talk faster than others. Some people are really slow. The only thing I will say is try to cut out if you get distracted. But again, it's your video. If I can either click off or I can fast forward past it. I don't know, this just gets kind of feels like her passing judgment again, and I don't want to say that she can't have an opinion. It's just that it once again feels kind of like she wants all of the benefit of the doubt while without giving any herself. That's my opinion. All right. So had a chance to read some additional chapters and stuff. The cafe owner is an S-class guide is kind of interesting because this kind of plays on the whole isekai person story where she was isekai from her world to another world where she lived for 6 years and then she gets isekai back to her world. Except her world has changed drastically, but the 6 years have still passed. So, and like apparently the girl she isekai'd, the body she isekai'd into, that spirit was put into her body, and so she's still been kind of navigating the weirdness around that. And she has also awakened as a guide now. This is a universe with guide and espers. And the person that she really hates ends up taking kind of an interest in her. He's an S-class Esper. She is an S-class guide, meaning they're compatible in terms of what ends up being this kind of like psychological care sort of situation. But he doesn't he realizes that she hates him, but she doesn't recognize him, and so he ends up helping her, and it's this kind of weird situation going on. It's interesting. There's still a lot to kind of unfold here, so I don't know a whole lot, but it's interesting. The Count's secret maid. Now, I think I covered this one before about this girl that thinks that she's ugly and was horribly abused, and then is taken in by this Count that has gone blind. And recently he asked her what she looks like, and so she ends up describing her sister that was always praised for being beautiful. And she's like really terrified about him finding out how ugly she is. And the thing is that she's not really ugly. She's like anime ugly, which is what most people would love to be. So that's the kind of thing that's kind of hard with the stories. It's like, girl, you're not ugly. You're not ugly. You just have shit people around you. Taming the Marquise is interesting. So the Marquise is known to be this kind of bloody villain sort of person. And this woman from a family of kind of blacksmiths ends up coming across the Marquise, who was transformed into child form and then was going to be sold at an auction. And given that her name is Laradora or Laradora, um, is like very big on her sense of justice and would not stand for that, so ended up rescuing him from this human auction. What she doesn't realize though is that it's a full grown man in the body of a child. He was just like trapped that way from magic or something. And he's been kind of slowly falling in love with her. She, of course, only sees him as a child and wants to care for him. It's kind of weird. I still don't know entirely how I feel about it because there have been ones where it's like, oh, look, I'm isekai'd into this world as an adult, and I find the main character as a child, and I know that they're going to be really good looking or whatever, so I'm going to like raise them, and then it ends up with the main character and this much older character that's cared for them since childhood, like becoming a couple, and I've always hated those. Like it gives me the creeps. This isn't quite that though, because he isn't a child. He was simply transformed into a child, but she doesn't know that he's not a child. It's kind of some fuckery, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I Became the Villain's Mother is pretty much winding down. Hardly anything left for that. Honey Bear is also seems to be winding down. This one ended up being a fairly simple story, but a very cute story. The Savage Forest seems to be hitting its peak, with like the main character kind of finally growing a spine and doing I do like the character arc that we see for our main character because she started off very meek, and that meekness hasn't entirely changed. She's just brave in spite of that meekness. So I really like how her character was handled in that regard. Lips Upon the Edge of the Sword ended up being, I think it's pretty much finished. I think I just read the finale. If memory serves, it was okay. It was an okay series. I don't think I would recommend it. I actually kind of regret spending money on the chapters to read it because it was just a mess story all the way. Like, it started off really interesting and then it just was like, oh, that's right, we need a plot. And so it shoehorned some shit in like halfway through and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And it just is like, and then this happened and then this happened. And, psychic dragons and evil sorcerers now are here. Fight. Like, it was kind of it's not dumb, but it's not a well-constructed narrative either, and it strays a lot from where it was before. This would have been a fine kind of slice of life sort of story, with less fantastical stakes that could have been like this could have very well been a slight slice of life with an assassin plot undertone that because she's more trained than she lets on, she could this could have been more of a political intrigue story, and I think it would have worked far better given what we started off with. Instead of going the whole fantasy, like crazy fantasy route. And I think that's pretty much where I am with that. Now, for webtoons, I've been, of course, buying the chapters for this one. Not Your Typical Reincarnation Story seems to be coming to an end. We learned who the author is. We learned why they have been kind of inhabiting this world, and they're kind of pathetic. But it's entertaining nonetheless. The reason for the twin ladies' disguise is starting to grow a little bit, uh, and is getting more interesting. One husband is enough. It's just so strange. I mean, it's good, but it's strange. Behind Her Highness's Smile is just kind of chugging along. The Remarried Empress was paused this week. So that's kind of where we are. I think I'm going to leave it here because I have some stuff to do today. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.